Let's get more from Dr. Tony Hedley now, who's a chair professor of community medicine at Hong Kong University. And Dr. Hedley, we're talking to a clean air activist just recently. Actually, we just heard from her, and she said basically she doesn't want these sandstorms to cloud the fact that the air here in Hong Kong is just polluted.
Joanna is quite right. Although we've experienced these enormous highs in particulates, up to 700 micrograms per cubic meter in the last 24 hours or so, against the World Health Organization annual guideline of 20, which is not necessarily safe. She's absolutely right. This is very unfortunate for Hong Kong people because the sandstorm is layered on top of an intense background level of pollution. And last week was particularly bad. So the jury's still out on what the sandstorm will do, but not on what we experienced last week. We can predict the illness episodes and the premature deaths which resulted from poor air quality through the whole of the last 7 days.
Now, why doesn't the Hong Kong government do something about this? Aren't they pretty much handcuffed because most of this pollution is coming from their next-door neighbors on the mainland in China? That's what they're saying.
Yes, no, that's not true. As Christine Lowe in Civic Exchange would say, we have a lot of low-hanging fruit here we can pluck. We're generating a lot of our own pollutants from combustion particles, particularly nitrogen dioxide, a lot of particulates, sulfur dioxide from the marine and port activities. So there's a lot that the government can do, but the government, as you say, seems to be intransigent, and it's a pity that our Minister for the Environment has to be prompted by a sandstorm to start issuing warnings. These warnings should be issued on most days of the year in Hong Kong.
Tony, how dangerous is Hong Kong's air pollution for children?
It's a considerable health hazard. The evidence that we have from Hong Kong and worldwide studies show that the pollution of the order that we have here stunts growth and development of children's lungs, so that by the time they reach the age of, say, 18, they're shortchanged in terms of their adult pulmonary functioning. You can't compensate for that. That stays with you throughout your life. It's likely to influence your health-related quality of life and your life expectancy. So
it sounds like the Hong Kong government should be doing something about this, especially if Hong Kong wants to remain as a financial hub, you know, because people are leaving for Singapore where there's cleaner air and there's also business to be done as well. Yeah, well, that's sad, but I'm more concerned about the children growing up in Mong Kok and Yuen Long and Tuen Mun, because they're the ones who are taking the biggest hit here. Yeah. And the government could start, in terms of a low-hanging fruit, they could start by doing something about our traffic pollution, which is a huge risk to child health. Now, Professor Hedley, we have the Sevens, which is the biggest sporting event in Hong Kong taking place this weekend, with the, the government warning that there should be no strenuous activity outdoors. Maybe we shouldn't be holding this. Yeah, it's rather incongruous, isn't it? But of course, life has to go on, and I certainly hope the Sevens will go on because I have a ticket. But Professor Hedley.
Apart from that, I'm afraid the Sevens was always going to be held in polluted air, sandstorm or not. Professor Hedley, thank you for joining us.